I'm hoping to be able to promote and talk about it and see what emerges in the church. See what I as I go around the church, I'm having more and more conversations like this. So that tells me something. It doesn't mean that everyone is going to become a contemplative. And it also, I think there's something that comes with life experience, with ministry experience. I don't need a 25-year-old to be the same as a 50-year-old. First of all, they can't be. And so when I can only speak out of my own, well, I cannot only speak, but I will only speak out of my own journey at this point. I'm 25 years old. I'm like, okay, how about you people sit in a circle and pray, and I'll go actually get something done. So, go ahead. You look at the candle. I mean, yeah, I know you came out of the womb differently, but I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever. I'll do that once a week when I have time, but I gotta go. We have to. There's a world that needs change, and this isn't going to change it. The fact is, you kind of need both. Maybe you don't need somebody quite as flip as I was about it, but I think you have both. You have a whole community for a reason. People at different levels of formation. So I had the older spiritual mentors of mine who were able to hold that tension with me. Were able to live with that kind of young arrogance and sort of help me along the way to a point where it was able to mean more to me. So I think, yes, there's some way in which institutionally we can begin to lift this up and to say this whole journey is important, and to bring all of the experience to bear, because I think it's about the whole community. I don't know about a decade of contemplation, but but something like beginning to emphasize it and say this is where it is, and our tradition speaks to that. Every major social change we've seen has come out of that way. It's come out of that level of centeredness and that ability to see, but it's seeing with different eyes.
Because of the Roman Catholic formation that I had as a young person, and especially in the era in which I was formed, which is all post-Vatican II stuff, and like at what I think was their high point. They're so good at blending, at even marrying social justice work with the contemplative tradition, that these are not separate things. And there are certainly going to be people who are better at one or the other, or like one more than the other, those sorts of things. That's all pretty standard, right? So for me, this seeming separation of the two doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's also evolution in everyone's spiritual journey. I know people who have evolved the other way, from being much more contemplative when they were young and being much more active when they got older. You know, it's all, God's calling you. The whole thing I was talking about yesterday with you about your story blending in with the story of your time and your place. All of that comes generally from Oscar Romero. I mean, he really worked hard in those few short years he had as Archbishop to try to explain to his people that our story is the history that we're going to be called to account for, right? We don't have to worry about how it was in the 2010s, no less the 1950s. And we don't have to worry about what it's going to be like in the 2040s or 50s or 60s. Those of us who get there, great, but worry about that then. We have to worry about now. This is our history, this happening in front of us, and the salvation of that St. Paul calls us to work out. It is that. It's here and it's now. And I think that's the important piece that I think about with that. Right? And how we do that in particular as a community. But prayer has the ability to change the world. I'm not making this up. It's Jesus who says, you want to move a mountain? go ahead and pray, right? It's that whole idea. And I often use the example of Jesus, in which rarely do we actually know what he did, but when he goes off to pray, all those times through the Gospels, going up on a mountain, out on the lake, in a hidden place, and finally in the Garden of Gethsemane, where we do have some sense of what he prayed there. But they all are examples of sometimes we just need to pull back, quiet ourselves down, allow that prayer to happen. But what does he always do? He always gets called back into action, of whatever that might be, of teaching, of healing, of preaching, and finally of willingly going under arrest and to his death. Right? And like that awful thing that drives me crazy, what is it with the letters? What would Jesus do? Right? There is still something about that when I look at Jesus' prayer life, what I can draw from it, from the gospel accounts, right, is enough for me to say, all right, if Jesus is doing that, shut up and be quiet and pray a little bit here, right? And I think that is the thing that I think there's two things that I know I am trying to work on, I want to work on more, and I want the church to do it as a whole, which is spiritual formation and building community. When you put that together, it's the best way to, classes are great, really great. The way you really get formed spiritually is by praying, right? You gotta do that, and when we do that together, we are that much more powerful in the best sense of that word.
So I talk a lot about the institution, and that's mainly to counter the rhetoric around the institution isn't important, but the mission is. But ultimately, I believe the gospel of Jesus Christ is a matter of life and death for the world. And we as a church are the risen body of Christ in the world. So it is incumbent upon us to engage these practices and live this way. It's that important. It's a matter of life and death for the world.